Kung Fu is a brand new DreamWorks animated film and the fourth film and now an over 15-year franchise. Once again, Jack Black returns to voice Po, the dragon warrior panda from the previous three films. In this movie, his master Shifu, voiced once again by Dustin Hoffman, wants Po to set up the next dragon warrior as Po is in place to take over for Master Oogway back from the original movie. But on this track, there's a new villain wreaking havoc in society. It is the Chameleon, voiced by Viola Davis, who can shapeshift into all of Poe's villains. And also, she wants Poe's staff that he got from Oogway so she can learn all the kung fu from all of Poe's past villains, which also includes the returning Tai Lung, voiced by Ian McShane. On this path, Poe meets Jen, played by Awkwafina, who's also a criminal who's usually not a person Poe would normally team up with. Also back in the movie is Bryan Cranston as Lee, Poe's biological father, and James Hong as Mr. Ping, Poe's adopted father. But also a part of the new cast is Ke Huy Quan as Han, the leader of the criminals in the city where the chameleon lives. The film is also directed by Mike Mitchell, the director of the Lego Movie 2, Shrek Forever After, Trolls, and Sky High. The film is an hour and 34 minutes and is PG. Welcome back to a brand new review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Zinneberg. If you're new, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications to talk movies, TV shows, and box office daily. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4? Where does this rank for you in both DreamWorks and in this entire franchise? Should they keep going with Kung Fu Panda to a Kung Fu Panda 5? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, please like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. That is how you support this channel. So this is one of those franchises that I have seen every movie in the theater of. I've grown up with this franchise. I said it in my out of theater reaction for Kung Fu Panda 4. But the first movie, and it makes me feel very old now, came out in 2008, and I was 6 years old by the time this movie, released. And as of now, in my rankings, it's my favorite DreamWorks movie of all time. I love Kung Fu Panda 1. I love Kung Fu Panda 2. I think Kung Fu Panda 3 is okay. So I was really excited. It's been 8 years since the last Kung Fu Panda film, which was Kung Fu Panda 3. That he's had animated series, but I haven't really watched those. So it's the first film since 2016. But I was excited. The promotion was a lot of fun. I like the new cast. So let's get my thoughts of Kung Fu Panda 4. And generally, this is just going to be a fun time in the theater for families. This is an easy to watch breeze of a 90 minutes. It is fun. It has a lot of fun action into it. And Jack Black is having tons of fun in the leading role. As always, Jack Black is 100% committed to every performance he's ever given. That's a voiceover or that is live action. This is one of the most synonymous voice acting performances of all time for an animated character, because you can't even think about doing Poe without having Jack Black voicing Poe. Jack Black and Poe are one thing, and Jack Black is fantastic in this movie. He also has a fun Britney Spears riff song that plays throughout the credits, which was really funny to listen to in the theater. But Jack Black is also excellent in the leading role as Poe. Other voice standouts, I would probably say, once again, Dustin Hoffman is great as Shifu. All the returning cast is great. Really awesome to see Ian McShane back. Tai Lung is one of my favorite animated villains of the last 15 years. And to see him come back in this movie was tons of fun. Also, the animation style is very inventive, just like the previous three films were. It's a joy to watch the animation display on screen. It's a gorgeous movie from start to finish. The details, the action scenes are really tons of fun. It really is just a breeze of a 90 minutes. Now, well, that is the case. You really don't say that about the first two Kung Fu Panda movies. The first two Kung Fu Panda movies, yes, have fun action scenes, and thrown in there is the Jack Black humor. But there was also a real seriousness, a real heart that was there, and quiet moments that were there in the first two movies. It was, Poe not being accepted by the Furious Five in the first, not really being accepted by society in the first movie, except for his adopted father, who also really didn't believe in him being the Dragon Warrior. Then the second movie, doubting his whole life that his family was destroyed by this villain, and a real seriousness that this villain, Lord Shin, killed his entire race, basically. There's some real seriousness and heart and great character arcs in those first two movies. And this movie just doesn't have those whatsoever, which is shocking because this movie does bring back the writing team of the original couple Kung Fu Panda movies. The person who also wrote this movie, Jonathan Abel, for example, he wrote Kung Fu Panda 1, 2, and and 3. So you have the people writing the first three movies coming back to write this movie, and I just don't feel like they had enough story here. Now, it does make sense that in this movie, Shifu wants Po to recruit someone to be the next Dragon Warrior, but while that's like the plot line of like the first 5 minutes of the movie just drops it again until the final 5 minutes of the movie. It's a plot line that you felt like was going to be like the main story of the movie, but once the chameleon becomes a major factor in Poe's sights, that story gets completely moved to the side. And once again, it's just another movie of Poe going after a villain. I enjoyed Aquafina, but the problem with this movie, also a huge problem, and it's probably due to budget and the studio not wanting to pay for more characters, and also a lot of the actors, is that there's no Furious 5 in this movie. And I think that's a massive mistake. My favorite character is Tigress, always voiced by Angelina Jolie, but yes, was Po and Shifu and Oogway very important to that first movie? Of course they were, but the dynamic between Po and the Furious Five is crucial. It's the best dynamic. It's some of the coolest characters in the movie. And the movie kind of gives like a BS reason why the Furious Five aren't with Po or Shifu throughout the entire movie. And their absence is missed. It's the only movie in the franchise that they are not in. And you can feel it because I think Po and Jen, they kind of do two subplots. They have Po and Jen going after the chameleon, and then they also have Lee and Mr. Ping, obviously Po's dads, going after Po to make sure he's okay. And the subplot with the dads, I didn't really find that entertaining, and that usually would have been for the Furious Five doing something. And this time we're going for Po's dads who don't fight at all and just talk. While Bryan Cranston went all in on the voiceover performance, this movie desperately needed the Furious Five in it. And I do believe if this franchise wants to keep going, they need to bring those characters back into the fold, because I don't think Po just going on a buddy cop mission for the whole movie without them works, in my opinion, fully with the story. As I said, once the subplot of the Dragon Warrior apprentice disappears, it's just another run-of-the-mill animated movie. The Chameleon is a fun villain voiced by Viola Davis, but really is just kind of like feels like a paycheck at times, where there's not a lot on the page for Viola Davis to kind of do with this character. And the Chameleon, you've seen this type of villain in a billion other movies before, and you never felt like she was at all a threat to Po or Jen throughout the entire movie. So this is a weird one for me because originally, again, I still enjoyed this movie. I had more fun than I hated myself watching this movie or anything, but I do believe that this is the weakest of the franchise. The story is very run-of-the-mill, and they had a cool story, but they chose to not use it, and then they just kind of dumped the Furious Five and Shifu kind of out of this movie. So overall, it's a fun time for kids. Families have a good time, but this nowhere near touches the greatness of the first two films. So I'm going to give Kung Fu Panda 4 a 3 out of 5 stars, 64% for Kung Fu Panda 4. Let me know your thoughts on this movie in the comment section down below. Like the video, and I'll see you guys soon.